let me actually show you how we can make something that looks like this. So these are just some letters, some shapes that I made. I just made shapes into the letters. Sometimes that's easier than using a font or text. And I made a shape there. So I'm only going to go as far as not having the rounds on these edges here. Well, I'll show that at the end. Anyways, all right, let me get going. I'm getting distracted. So I made a new document just like we have made all the other times in this class. My units are set in millimeters. If you're not in millimeters, you can just type mm after every dimension you put in, and it will force the millimeters in there. So that can be a good way to do this. So without further ado, I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to make it on the top plane. So I'll click on the top plane when it lights up orange. And I recommend that you watch this video straight through to get the overall idea of how I'm doing this, so that when the video is over, you can go through and kind of do it yourself and come back to the video as you need, and you'll have the big picture in your head. So because of that, I'm going to move a little quickly. You can obviously slow this video down or speed it up on YouTube as you need, as what works for you. So I made a sketch on the top plane there by hovering until it turned orange and clicking. I'm going to make a corner rectangle here by clicking the corner rectangle button. I'm going to start it on the origin. I'm not going to worry about the size just yet. I'm going to make it about the right shape. And then I'm going to find my dimension tool here. If you can't find it, you can click search tools and type DI usually, and that'll be enough, and then click it there, however you want to do it. I'm going to click on this line to set the length of that line. Let's make this line 20 millimeters. That is based on the drawing here. That's this distance here, 20 millimeters. And I'm going to do this line next. One click to pick it, and then another click to put the dimension down. Let's make this one 50. And that is going to be the general size of my key tag. Everything looks great. So I will check to accept that sketch. Now I'm going to extrude this. I don't remember how tall it needs to be. Let's see. I'm going to pick the outline of it because it's a closed shape. So I need to set the depth. Let's look at the drawing. 3 millimeters right here. 3 millimeters. So let's do that. 3 millimeters. Enter. I didn't type mm before, but you should be typing mm if you're not working in millimeters already. That's going to create your kind of basic, like your blank that you're going to put this stuff on. Let's add the hole next. So that hole is this hole right here. It'll go in the upper right corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new sketch. I'm going to put it right on the top. You see how we can pick different faces? We're going to put it right on the top there. Okay. And then I'm just going to make a circle. We're not using the hole tool. Okay, we're just going to make a circle. We're going to make any old circle right here. Don't worry about the size because now we're going to set the size with the dimension tool. So I'll pick dimension again. Again, it's 2 lines with an arrow going between it. You can study that little image up there as much as you need. Let's set the size of it. I believe all these dimensions are 5. So let's see, it's 5 in diameter, which is the distance across it. It's 5 millimeters from the top edge and 5 millimeters from the right side edge. So let's do that. So I'm going to pick the outside of the circle to set the size of the circle. This is 5 millimeters. Enter. Then I'm going to go from this line to the center. So that was 2 clicks to say the beginning and the end of the dimension. And this is going to be 5 millimeters. Enter. And let's go from the top edge to the center. Move it out here. Click again to stamp that down. 5 mm. Enter. Now our whole outline is ready, so I'll accept that sketch. And we're going to use extrude again, but this time we're going to say remove. We want to remove stuff. We're not creating new material. We're not adding material. We're removing. So I'll click remove, and then it wants us to pick the outline. So I'll hover around until just the circle is selected. And we can already see it's going right through. I'm right-clicking and dragging to change my angle there. We can set this from blind to just through all. You can really leave it at blind too. It doesn't actually matter for this, but we'll click the check mark. And now we have a hole, so that can be the hole that the key ring goes through. And now the last step here is to just add a design. Okay, so for this, we'll create a sketch on the top face again. Okay, and for this, you just want to do any closed shape. So I'm going to do a CPP design, and I'll do a hawk design. If you have questions about how I did that, because I'm going to speed it up so it doesn't bore you to death, If you have questions about how I do that, let me know in class or in some other way. But basically, you can use the line tools. Okay, here, I'll just do a blocky one instead of a circle-y one. You can just use the line tool here to create the outlines of what you want to extrude. And you'll notice there are these little snap points, and I'm not dimensioning this. So like right there, it's snapping to be vertical. If I want it to line up with that dot, I can come over to that dot and then bring it until everything snaps in place. And you can really use that to your advantage. So there's our C. Let's do a P. Let's line it right up. So I'm still in the line tool. I didn't click anything, line it right up there. So I'm going to speed up the rest of this now so you don't have to listen to all this. All right, so I have now created a completely closed loop. There's no like single lines that don't close up, like everything connects back to itself. And so this is going to allow me to extrude this. So I'll be able to extrude this into something like a bump, basically. So something that sort of sticks up off the surface of this. So that is quick and easy. We've done this before. We're going to click extrude. This time we're going to, I had a circle selected. We're going to pick add, and we're going to make sure it's on solid too. So if you have anything like that, you want solid and add. So sorry, solid and add. And then you can just go through and hover until those shapes are picked. Now they're going to be way too tall. Okay, but that's okay. We're just going to change the height. Let's look at our drawing for a second. 1 millimeter right here, the distance from the surface of the top of that up to the top of the letters. We're going to do 1 millimeter, enter. Well, I clicked the check mark. You could hit enter and then click the check mark. And now we have our shape. If you want to go back and edit any of these, you can hover over the different things over here in your feature browser and like double click that. And that would allow you, if you wanted to make this P slightly wider or something like that, the second one, just for fun, you could do that, click the check mark, and it's going to update everything. So, and that is how you can create the basic name tag. So you can go give that a shot now, create whatever shape on here you want. You could just do basic closed shapes, anything you want. Or you can try to do letters like this, just using the line tool. I used the spline tool in there. You can also select objects and right click and copy and paste. That's what I did to make the second T. There's even the trim tool, which you may have seen me use in there. So if you have questions on that, let me know. So go try this now. I'm going to show how to round these edges, but you can leave the video now if you want, because it's probably been going on long enough. Hopefully I can cut down that part where I was making that to a short amount of time so you guys can see it. But anyways, if you want to round these corners like I did over here, that's the last thing I'll show, and this is sort of optional. So to do that, we click the Fillet button right here, which is next to where the extrude and stuff is. It's sort of in the next section. Click that. We're going to leave the radius at 5 millimeters, but I'm going to just pick the 4 sort of vertical edges here. And sometimes we can get that back one through there, but usually we have to orbit this around. You can either click on these different views or things like that to reorient the view. There we go. Now they're all picked. Oops, I picked an extra edge, so you can unpick that. There we go. And that is going to create the fillets on our sides, which are like the rounded edges. If we want, like, so let's say we made this bigger, it would make those fillets bigger. If we made it smaller, do a smaller number, it would make them smaller. So it's up to you, but 5 looks good to me. So we'll click check mark. And this would be ready to submit. To share this with me, to get it printed, you can click the share button. Make sure export is checked, and you would type Osgood at cppmail.com. And that is in the assignment for this. So you can, well, it's CPP ASD. the Osgood. Either one works at cppasd.com. Click share, and that would share it with me. I'm the owner, so it won't let me share. That is it for how to make this name tag. Again, in that part where I sped it up, please ask me if you have questions about what I'm doing in there. And yeah, please ask me if you have any other questions about anything else. My goal is to make this kind of as hands-off as possible so y'all don't have to deal with choppy video or anything like that.